Okay, so each provider got 30 minutes. Okay, this is just a title slide. We can go to the next one. That's the Jason Hargrove Award-winning Transit Center. Okay, so just lay of the land. This is our service map. We've got our stars as our different assets. The big news really this year is going to be that we're going to be moving from the Gilbert, which is the red star to the left, to Coolidge, which is the yellow star to the left. None of y'all will actually see that, except for Coolidge does have a spot where you can buy tickets and some community space, so maybe you will see it. But really, it's about improving the conditions for our staff, which is what the people that make our service run every day are going to have a world-class facility instead of Gilbert. And you'd be fortunate to know that. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, this is all of our team, our customers. Like I said, they are what makes the service run. Go to the, okay. Oh, maybe you got the wrong guy. Okay. So thinking about for this year, and as was mentioned just moments ago, the big news was last year is that at the end of the year, and now this is the year we're going to implement it, is that we have parity with SMART for our drivers and our mechanics, which is really a game changer, because it really helps us make sure that we can reward those individuals who take so much pride to make our service work every day, and we can stop battling against our issues with retention and recruiting, and really this is like a generational opportunity. The potential for change this year is incredibly high at DDOT, maybe even more so than the other providers. I'm slightly biased on that, but that was the big news for this year. That's setting us up for a big year. This year we also have a otherworldly hit rate on these competitive grants that has set us up with funding to replace half of our fleet for buses. That's an incredible, that doesn't just happen by accident, but through lots of hard work. And we're thinking about really some of the improvements this year focused on improving the rider experience. So it was mentioned we have the boarding platforms on East Jefferson. I saw one of the questions in Slido. Those are the highest ridership spots where we could fit a platform, so that is intended to be the pilot for that corridor. As we learn more about how they are good and not so great, which I think I've got probably equal amounts of feedback so far, we'll see if that makes sense to maybe expand to other corridors in the city. But that's also matched with, more importantly, retaining the frequency on Jefferson and also now on Grand River. We've also started our bench and shelter program, but we have funding from the council to install benches at 200 locations at a minimum that have never had a shelter or a bench before. We're about 25 benches into that, but we'll be filling out at least the 200 this year. The shelter program, we have funding for 100. We're finalizing the environmental and design process for those. And then also we launched DDOT Now same-day paratransit enhancement services as well. Next slide, start standing up. And then just thinking about next year is that thinking about really improve the on-time performance. So new Mayor Sheffield, she talks about customer satisfaction, customer experience, customer service. That's the word I was looking for. In all elements of city government, and that translates perfectly to what we think is so important at DDOT and all the providers, which is providing good customer service and a great experience. It's really important. And so all of our efforts this year are going to be focused on how can we improve that experience between on-time performance, bus availability, the technology on the buses, and also bus stop amenity improvements as well. And really focusing on improving our operational efficiency. I'm sure people can tell lots of stories about seeing bus bunching, crowding, weird things happening in the system. So this is going to be the year where we really redouble our efforts to really mature our approach when it comes to operational improvements as well. Again, it's not exciting, it's like a new facility or something, but I know it's something that will make a big impact to each of you that ride our service. I think that's all I got. Thank you.
So it looks like we do have slides here. A lot of this you already know, so if you know me, you know I'm not really all that regimented to slides. I want to tell you what's really going on. You know how long SMART's been around since 1967. The Central became SMART in 1989. Next slide.
You know what it is.
All right. So I saw a question in the slide about service area improvements. Megan then started talking about smarter mobility moving forward this year. We kicked off the brand new year with increasing frequencies on Woodward and Gratiot to 20-minute services as we know we should have, and really we even need better services there, and 30 minutes on 9 Mile. We're going to continue in that vein. Check out the Smart Mobility website. Our Vice President of Planning and Innovation, Jordan Vanzenda, is in this audience. I don't have my glasses. He's waving. There he is. Check out what he has to say about this as we're making more and more plans to increase the service. We know, and every time I come here, we have a conversation about trade-off, and it's service area versus frequency. We know we can't do everything, but we're going to try to do our best to make that service as meaningful to you. The smarter mobility process that we went through was almost 2 years of strict public engagement to understand what the most critical issues were that needed to be addressed so that we can put forth a plan that people could believe in. I know that when we opened up the public comment period, Joel and Nathan reached out. They said, can you extend it a little bit longer so we can get even more input? And we said we will extend it for as long as humanly possible. But guys, the board has to make a decision on this, and we got to be able to turn it on. So we're happy to say that we are true partners with Truth at this point. They can call us, they know that we're going to be responsive, and that we actually care. In addition to that, we're also working, as Megan said earlier, Megan, you said all of the things, I don't even know what I'm up here, about working with Wayne County. I see one of my board members, Deputy County Executive Scott Turkey, who you'll hear from in a moment, so I'm not going to go too much of your thunder, sir, about how we're looking at the Wayne County concept and the directive that they gave us in building the ideas for that is every community has to get something meaningful, and that's what we're striving toward right now, so I'm excited about that. I think you skipped one of those slides that I did not talk about. As you know, we have over 5,300 bus stops. I'm going to go quickly after this, I promise you. This is the time, guys, I get out of here. So, we have 5,300 bus stops. But what I want to talk about is our Smart Spaces program. We are focused on-time performance and changing the perception of public transit. We're not going to get better unless people use our system more. More people use the system, more people demand the system, more funding comes to the system. And so when they see clean shelters with concrete pads, when we treat people, our users, our current users, with integrity and dignity and respect, what happens is other people try to serve it. So when I talk about that, I also know our on-time performance is not great. I kind of joked the other day at the SimCog panel, and I said, if you had a friend that only picked you up on time 67% of the time, you and that friend would not be cool. We got to do better. And so we're not just talking about doing better. We triage every week. We have everyone who impacts on-time performance sit down in a room and talk about the policies, the procedures, and the execution of said procedures to make on-time performance better. Same time, we're improving preventive maintenance in our locations and making sure that our buses not just get out of the gate on time, but they stay on the road. Nobody expects that bus to break down when they're getting on that route. We need to make sure our preventive maintenance keeps those buses from breaking down so we can keep the promise of our schedule. Last, I think Bernard Parker, our Chief Marketing Officer, would kill me if I did not say, please come down. I think the press release is headed out soon. We're going to be doing Smart After Dark to try to attract, like I said, more users to the system. On Valentine's Day, shuttles coming from the Out County into downtown Detroit so that people can enjoy a ride, a free ride, because we're not charging that evening. Come down, enjoy the things that downtown Detroit has to offer. I believe our last shuttle leaves at midnight on that day. And so we want to make sure that people are experiencing trying buses for the first time in a great, safe environment so that they will continue to come back and try it again in the future. I wish I could say more, but I am out of time.
Good evening, everyone. Tiffany's a hard act to follow, so I'll do my best. My name is Matt Carpenter. I'm the CEO of the Ann Arbor Area Transportation Authority. First time I've had the chance to be on the panel up here with everyone. Glad to be here. If you don't know us, TheRide is the public transit provider for the Ann Arbor area, Ypsilanti area over in Washtenaw County, excuse me. You see some stats about us up there on the board. We think we do a reasonably good job, but the thing I really want to talk about behind those stats is the team. We've got a lot of great people on our board, on our staff, who deliver services every day, do a phenomenal job. I know some of them are here. If you're on the board or a senior leader or a past board member of TheRide, raise your hand right now. And Chief Financial Officer are online watching as well. So it's a great teamwork that makes the dream work, and we're doing a lot out there. Next slide, please. So some of the things we've been able to accomplish in the past year, you might have heard of. Great village win back in 2022, delivered all the services for that ahead of schedule and on time. That was a 2.38 mil increase from 0.7 to 2.38, so that was a big jump and a very concerted effort to get that done. The Ypsilanti Terminal project, that's a great project ongoing. We're going to knock down the existing Ypsilanti Transit Center and build a whole new facility, much bigger, much nicer. We need to say thank you to Representatives Dingell, Senators Peter and Slotkin. We've got about $8 million in earmarks from them so far. Just another $10 million to go. So we're doing great there. A low-no grant award, like with Detroit, they got it in the morning, we got it in the afternoon. But it was fun. Oh, okay, ceremony, all right, feel love. We have a lot of plans and business information that you can see on our website, reading documents to see about a lot of our long-range plans. We're talking about bus rapid transit, we're talking about even our Ann Arbor terminal gets a blow up, new garage, whole bunches of things. So there's a lot going on there. Too much to talk about in detail, but I do want to talk about one thing that I think I even saw a comment on in Slido about. One of the visions in our long-range plan is for regional services emanating out of Ann Arbor. Depending on who you talk to, somewhere around 80,000 people commute in and out of Ann Arbor every day for work or school. So it's a huge market, potential market for transit. And we have a vision we're working on with large intersect park and ride lots all over the freeway rings outside of our area to try to get maybe 10,000 of those people onto the highway coach style buses that we see. That's some things going on behind the scenes, a lot of technical work right now, but we look forward to partnering with the state and others in the future to get that done. And I think that's it. Love to get questions from you later, but thank you so much for your time.
All right, RTA's mission, vision, values, creating new and better ways to move and connect people. I won't read the rest. I think everybody knows the RTA has been around for 10 years. We have a 10-member board that covers all the counties in the city of Detroit. So we'll go to the next one. This is the map. It definitely does not look like this on a computer. It's much sharper. But maybe apropos in some ways in terms of the complexity of the system that we have the joy of coordinating. So I think everybody understands this system and all the pieces in it. Go to the next slide. All right, so the three things we like to say that the RTA does. First and foremost, with transit subject matter experts. So we create the blueprint for transit in Southeast Michigan, all 4 counties in our regional master plan. We're going to be approving the 2025 version of that plan in our board meeting in February. We lead and coordinate studies on mobility corridors. We administer state and federal funds and grants coming to our region. So we plan, we coordinate, we fund, we accelerate. We're drivers and doers. So over the last few years, we've taken the responsibility on for several regional services and programs. Most recently, and probably the one that's been in the news mainly, is the Q line. So we are the owners and operators of the Q line streetcar. It's been a year, just over a year. It's been a long day in the snow for the Q line, I'm just going to be honest. But it's been a really, really rewarding experience for the RTA. It's been great working with the Q line team. They are a very, very dedicated team that is pushing through every day to make the streetcar come on time. And we have a lot of plans for what we can do in the future for that service. We have D2A2 and DAX. We want to make sure to shout out TheRide in terms of partnership on D2A2. We would not have that service without them helping us get it started. DAX has been very successful. Both of those continue to increase ridership, and not just a little bit. We're talking 25, 30% every year. They're growing and growing and growing. We also run what we call the My Ride 2 program. This is a mobility management service, so anybody In the entire region, all 4 counties can call 1-855-MyRide-2 and get any information about any types of services you need, particularly for seniors and people with disabilities, but we really like to encourage people to use that service. I always want to make sure people use that to get the information they want. Community connectors, the one thing I want to highlight here is we've taken a lot more of an aggressive and direct approach in doing state advocacy. Really, only 30 seconds? Okay. So the one thing I'll highlight here is that every year we do an annual report to the legislature, and we go and present in front of the legislature. We try and make that report a regional report covering all the great things we've done and all the things we want to educate our legislators about. So I usually turn that in March of every year, so we're going to be doing that again this year. 25 year in review. I think most of this is great stuff that we talked about. The one thing I haven't said that I do want to say is Transit App. Transit App. So, one of my favorite quotes I heard talking about the RTA is, the Transit App was the RTAing as hard as an RTA can RTA. That is the absolute example of why having an RTA here that can pull that partnership together, bring that value to the riders, work in partnership with all of our partners, the state and everybody else to bring that great benefit to the region. So we're really, really proud of that. We have a lot of exciting marketing and other things that we want to be doing around that now and into the future. So what do we want to do in 26? More riders, more Transit App users. We have a lot of pilots and other things that we want to bring to fruition. We're also doing some work around bus stops and mobility improvements. So happy to talk more about these in detail on the panel.
Great afternoon, or great evening. Thank you, Ben. We appreciate that. So my name is Melia Howard. I currently serve as the newly appointed 3 weeks in general manager for DTC in the Detroit People Mover. I am an uber competitive person, so when I saw that, I do ride the queue line, let's be clear. The queue line came in first, I felt a little type of way. But what I'd like to say is that over my last, because this is the beginning of week 4, we are a small but mighty group of 83, and those 83 people continuously, for the last almost 40 years, have given you the opportunity of a lifetime riding on the Detroit People Mover. There is nowhere else better than to get a view of our amazing waterfront, to be able to have a conversation just randomly with the residents as they get on and off of the People Mover. Oh, okay. That's me. There's an opportunity for you to engage as you go along our system and be able to explore all 13 stops. And so as you move through the system, all of you who said you've ridden the People Mover, understand that there is so much opportunity and so much waiting for you at every stop. And that is what I appreciate about our system. So last year, can you go back one slide, please? I appreciate you. So last year we did 1.3, back a slide. Last year we did 1.3 million total rides. Woo! Wow. 1.3 total million rides. And I do know our illustrious comms leader is here, Ms. Alexander, and she let me know that I believe it was 500,000 less trips in a car because somebody was able to take the People Mover. So think about that when you think about transit. I know all of you are in here in this space because you do think about transit every day, but think about how many fewer rides people are actually able to have as they come into our system. I know in my previous capacity with the city, I always made it a point to ride the People Mover or the queue line, especially if the walk was 2 blocks off on either side. It made more sense. What sense did it make for me to drive my vehicle when I had public transportation, and on top of that it's free to get where I need to go back and forth from? So that, please go to the next slide. So that was always an important thing for me in my ridership on those 2 services. And so for 2026, we wrapped 2025, we did a ton of great things. I was able to participate in our holiday give back at the station. So you got to ride the People Mover. You got to see some of your favorite Detroit artists. I know, I got 1 minute left, I'm not gonna do it. You got to meet some of your favorite Detroit artists, and we were able to provide about 120 families with Christmas gifts. And who doesn't want that? If you don't know, you should have been there, because I actually enjoyed myself. So you got to see Santa, but most importantly, we shot our first commercial. We opened up our very first tiny library. It's okay, you keep going faster because I can talk about it. And we were able to get a lot of switches replaced. And we opened up the Detroit People Mover online store, DetroitPeopleMoverStore.com. Thank you, I got it. And so for 2026, our priorities stand as such. Last year, we started and kicked off with our community engagement, our system study. So that'll be going on until May. So I encourage all of you to go to the peoplemover.com website, learn about what we're doing in our system study, catch some of the next meetings, because your input is important. Right now, people have got us moving into several different directions for possible expansion and improvement and upgrades to stations, and all of that matters, especially if you ride the system, and especially if you want to ride the system. Because it might not take you where you're going now, but if you don't say something, as I always say, closed mouths don't get fed. If you don't say something, how am I supposed to know where you want to go now, right? And so with all that being said, all of these enhancements, reconfigurations, and downtown mobility improvements are critical for us, not just the Detroit People Mover, but for all of us that sit on the stage today. Because we are really, truly trying to be an intermodal hub for all things. So just understand that the People Mover is here. We celebrate our 40th anniversary next year. But I want you to know this, that the Detroit People Mover is elevating Detroit. And so
we'll start with a little bit of a tough one. How will DDOT Smart, well, I guess I would say, how will all of your agencies protect citizens from ICE on buses and transit property? Anyone who is comfortable and who's able to answer, maybe uncomfortable, are you able to say anything about working with or not working with ICE? No? All right, I will say, for many in the audience, please talk with your leadership about what you would need to or not do. If ICE directs your agency to provide them buses to haul people, is that something you would do? If ICE gets on the bus and tries to take people off, is there any limit? So please do think about that.
Definitely something we're talking about internally on policy, but nothing that I can speak on today without going on our board and having a conversation.
Understood. Matt, you can add anything?
This is my first time here, and now it may be my last time. We've been looking into this real close, lawyers up and down. We haven't found a legally defensible reason why we can deny a law enforcement officer entry into a public space. And to do that means that the agency is not breaking the law, which gives some people ammunition. So we understand how frightened people are. I mean, I think we see it every day, right? But as a transit provider, we're a mobile public space, which means we're open to everybody, good and bad. So that's a reality I think every industry, I know every agency in our industry is grappling with.
Thank you. Can we expect any rapid transit, bus rapid transit, Michigan Ave, Grand River? What type of opportunities are there for, I'll expand that to saying faster and or true bus rapid transit? What's possible?
Okay, I'll go first. So what I've seen over the years, and this has been a couple decades now, is that we've been very heavily and singularly focused on getting a full funding grant agreement and going all or nothing in the bus rapid transit space. So what I like to think of is we get inches, not yards sometimes, and so what we're looking at is some opportunities to draw down some funding so that we can create better shelters, maybe isolate, have a dedicated lane, and start working incrementally towards those type of services that people want, with queue jumping, signal preemption, so that we have a system that operates like bus rapid transit, and then the beautiful vehicles will follow.
I can say from DDOT's perspective, if you think about the DDOT Reimagining Plan, it's focused on having this network of corridors that have high frequency service. And for me, and it's easy to say because we don't have the capital to do like a gold standard BRT application anywhere yet, But really the most important elements of a BRT system are the frequency, right? And where it takes you, and how it connects to the other high frequency routes. So that's the whole DDOT Reimagined plan is based on having this route network of 10-minute frequencies, maybe 15-minute tops. That's where you throw the schedule away. Now you're able to make those kind of connections. I think I mentioned earlier that that's linked in with how the city's doing their next master plan effort, focusing on neighborhood nodes. So really, I think all of this, including working with SMART, with Ann Arbor, and then with our free rail partners, it's all about just building that network. And that's really the benefits that you want to have. It's a high frequency network that connects more people to more places. What kind of amenities you have, I think we'll build on those incrementally as we find money in the couch cushions or from friendly politicians. But in the meantime, we're going to focus on a good frequent network.
I'll add, on Washington Avenue between Ann Arbor and Ypsilanti, we also have aspirations for bus rapid transit. Can't agree more with my colleagues. It's the frequency that matters. All the capital improvements will get there. We're already very close to BRT level frequencies with express routes between the two areas, cutting travel time down. So we've done a lot already there. We do have a project to initiate the small start study to enter that funding pipeline. It's on the books. We're talking about when we can begin that. A little bit of a bandwidth issue among staff. We can only handle so many spinning plates at once, you may imagine. And frankly, anticipating how well certain things will be received in Washington, D.C. these days, it's a bit of a crapshoot. So that's always something we have to keep on.
I actually was going to ask for a quick follow-up, Matt. You guys have your first section of dedicated transit lane. How's that going? And how does that fit into that frequent reliable service?
Thank you. Yes, we do have one block, but a very important block, State Street, right up against campus, dedicated bus lane, one direction only. Huge thanks to the City of Ann Arbor and the University of Michigan, who paid for most of it, but we chipped in. It's going very well. U of M buses use it, we use it. It's real. I wrote it the other day. It is so nice to slide past all the stopped traffic. It's got the special signals with the horizontal and vertical eye blinking sort of thing. So it's legit bus lane, and we're very excited about it.
Excellent. Yeah. Ben, want to add anything?
Yeah, I would just say I can agree wholeheartedly with everything everyone said. The two other things I want to say are the majority of our corridors are MDOT corridors. So we have another major partner that we need to continue to work with on developing any projects along those corridors. They have some good, exciting, and I'd say progressive for MDOT planning studies that we're able to tier off of to start putting some of these projects together. And I also want to highlight that we have what is now called a congressionally directed spending request. It used to be called earmark. I remember what it was called this time. We don't call it that anymore. It's Senator Peter's office for some dedicated links for the queue line. So we hope that comes through this session.
And we'll do a follow-up for you, Ben, and I guess something always comes up. Any chance of a new RTA ballot measure coming up? Because as I noted, we got to double the funding if we're going to have great transit. So what's the latest talk?
So the number one thing that we're focused on this year is Wayne County's efforts and our partners in the Combs efforts to renew their Smart Now initiative. That's our absolute number one focus. That closes the gigantic transit gap in the region. So that's our focus. On top of that, once that's done and we're over that hurdle, I think we'll begin talking about what we can do in the future. Right now, our focus is working in partnership with everyone here, delivering value in the things we're responsible for. So that's where we're at.
Excellent. And speaking of that Wayne County ballot measure, which we'll certainly talk more about in a little bit, I wanted to see, I don't know if this is a Tiffany and a Matt question. Have you guys started talking about how we're going to connect Wayne and Washtenaw counties together? Can we get some direct service, Michigan Ave all the way to Ypsi? Can we relaunch that Ann Arbor to Canton type of service? How can we make sure that when we extend transit throughout all of Wayne County, that they can easily connect to Washtenaw as well?
As we're looking to eliminate opt-outs, absolutely, we want to connect this region further. As I said earlier though, this is a trade-off, the funding limitations, and we want to make sure that we're serving the most dense populations that have the greatest access to jobs and education. So more to come on that, but for today, I don't want to make promises that we may not be able to deliver on now.
And I'll just jump in and say, we do have a connection between Ann Arbor and Detroit that we didn't have before. So, Ride 282 is there. I think there's a lot of opportunities to make some very meaningful, small adjustments to create some of these connections.
Is it safe to assume that Smart and AATA, if the resources were available, would be happy to link connections between Ann Arbor or between Wayne and Washtenaw?
Can we answer together? Yes.
Yes. As long as the money is distributed alphabetically.
Fun fact, I replaced Matt at Stupka before he took off to Alberta over 20 years ago. It's literal cubicles, so we are partners. We've been working together for a long time, and we look forward to it.
Absolutely. There's been a lot of interest in the study that you guys have going on about just how feasible is it to expand the people mover, and then I'll tie that to another question of are there any conversations of expanding services like U2A2 and DAX to connect places like Toledo or Monroe or Lansing or Grand Rapids. So expansions for people mover, additional connections.
So this study has been, I think, a long time coming for some people. So as we explore connectivity and as we explore options, I believe it to be feasible. Obviously, we have to raise funds. That's a large capital investment in the city and in the infrastructure, but I believe if we've got lawmakers and philanthropic folks and all the people to the table, I think it's something that we can pull off clearly. And I believe a lot of residents want to see it because there is a lot of opportunity. And so, again, if you go and look at the study and look at some of the results that are happening right now, I can't guarantee anything. This is the first phase of the study, but the way folks are engaging and being thoughtful about this process gives me hope that this is something that lawmakers and others want to see happen for the expansion.
So we are going to start, we've been working with TheRide on their Express Bus study. We're going to start looking at some potential expansions of our D2A2 and DAX services this year. Just starting the technical work, trying to identify if it's feasible, trying to identify what the next best market is. Those have been successful. I believe, and I believe our team believes, and our board believes that there's more to be done in that space, so we're going to be working really hard on it.
I will share one of the other popular questions was, when will our leaders have the audacity to dream big in transit? So I will invite each of you to make any closing remarks that you might want, if you would like to respond to that, or other progress that you are making.
Dreaming big is absolutely a relative concept. My big dreams are on-time performance and service reliability, and from there, the possibilities are endless. So my big dream is to at least do the things you expect us to do right, correctly, and do it quickly.
We need to match the big dreams with big money.
Yes.
And I want to thank True and the Michigan Public Transit Association. They did a huge amount in Lansing this last year. They deserve a huge round of applause for what they managed to do. Because
So I would say, I think I mentioned earlier, it's a once in a generation opportunity. I think just of DDOT itself, I think that rings true across all the providers, and the support from, again, DDOT blends, City Council, from the residents, but then also thinking about our other providers and all of, like, this is the time for us to make some sort of change. And, Tiffany and Matt and I have joked about the Three Musketeers, maybe come up with some other, old cartoon maybe for five of us to be part of, but this is really the time. The right people are on the stage, the right people are in the audience, the right people are in places. And again, it's a lot of hard work ahead of us, as Matt mentioned, Tiffany mentioned, but this is the time to do it, and so the sky's the limit.
Excellent.
I honestly believe that our study is a streaming victory. So
Yes.
we just need to hone down on what it is people want to see and do. If you don't know me, I'm a neighborhood busybody, one of the biggest community advocates and voices in the city. Just because I love community engagement, I want to hear it all. So come to the meetings, share your thoughts and ideations, because without you, there can be no us. So always remember that.
I think everyone said it really, really well. Now's the time. We all know each other really well. We're all passionate leaders. We all want to work together. We all have big dreams. We all understand what the realities are. But working together, we are going to be able to secure what we need to move ourselves to the next level. So I just encourage us all to stay working together. Everybody in this room, we saw what we could do at the state capitol. We're going to need more of that. I love everything True's been able to do. Being at their 25-year anniversary was amazing. I was in one of the very first early meetings with True. I can't remember what building it was in before my meeting started. So I think we can continue to get there together. And that's what we're all about at the RTA. So just continuing to move everything forward and just get everybody to get on board with everything that we're doing at the RTA and with all of our transit providers.
Thank you. And I will say, you think those, well, those might be a little bit challenging questions. At least people aren't whining and complaining about how bad the service is. Now, at least everybody's pushing for more, but they're not complaining about how bad it is. So, silver lining. I want to give a huge thank you to everyone. Ben and Robert and Tiffany already got their lovely transit, the transit champion pin. Definitely not a bribe to come back, Matt and Melia, but a special transit champion pin. These folks work incredibly hard. Let's give them a huge thank you for all of the